Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com here with Chris, our second favorite Canadian, Brian Bittler, Al McMorty, and Jovan Burtz. We got a locked and loaded card, and we got a full card of college football. It's nice. The last games are 8 o'clock p.m., so, no late nights. You got that extra hour of sleep tonight. Be sure to set your clocks back, this time for real. I know I've been saying that for 3 weeks. So hopefully you guys aren't 3 hours behind at this point. But the thing is we got NBA tonight as well. I'm still working on mine, to be honest with you. It has been just so much stuff. But I'm excited. We're going to do it the same format. We have been doing it. Chris, you know who our first favorite Canadian is?
I was just going to say, I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. Who's first?
Alanis, man. It's always Alanis. You know that.
Okay, but does she work with Pick Dogs now? What the hell is this?
But it still makes her our
okay, favorite. She can be first. I'm just saying. I thought it was just.
It's Alanis. Everybody knows that.
It's ironic.
It is. It isn't all that ironic. She's got one hand in her pocket, the other one's flashing a peace sign. Anyways, we got Northwestern and Purdue. Northwestern just absolutely kicking my ass all season long. Army, Air Force, Akron, Buffalo, Eastern Mich, Toledo. I'm reading off all the games instead of the big ones the way we normally do it. Illinois, Minnesota, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Duke, Miami. It's a big noon card here with Penn State, Ohio State, North Carolina State, Stanford. Anything in the noon slot. Chris, we'll just go one at a time and just keep going around until everybody's done. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Memphis here. I mean, it's gone up and over a touchdown now, but I think we're starting to see the Memphis that we expected, or at least I expected to see. I should say that, or many people expected to. The team that plays really well offensively, but the defense has held up as well. UTSA coming off of that collapse against Tulsa last week. I think this team's waving the white flag. I think Memphis comes on strong here and holds UTSA down. I'm going to take Memphis to win this one by double digits.
Man, I am tonight. Brian.
Yeah, for the first time this year, I'm going to take the Miami Hurricanes later 21. I think Duke's a slight public dog here. I think Miami, I think they need to kick ass to close out the season. I don't think there's any letdown out after beating Florida State into the ground. So I like Miami laying the points here.
Miami native and former head coach Manny Diaz coaching the Dukies. Al.
Oh, I'm going to look at the Ole Miss Arkansas game. Arkansas is home dog, 7.5. Last week I had Arkansas and they blew out Miss State 58-25 on the road, and now they're back home. So home teams have gone 367 and 275 ATS off a 33-point or greater road win, and that bodes well for the Razorbacks. So I'll take the points with Arkansas.
Jovan.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the big one. OSU, PSU. And, if this was 3.5 where it stood at for a while, I would, take a shot with Penn State, because I do think it's going to be a 3-point game regardless. But with it being 3, I'll just take OSU. Until James Franklin led Penn State team could show me that they have it in them to win against either OSU or Michigan, I gotta fade them. It's really just that simple. Was wavering on the over and under in that one. I think it went up from 45 to 47, somewhere around there. At 47, I'll take the under. I think it just slightly lands below that total. Not really feeling too strong about the game. Penn State, they did make some moves in the offseason with their offensive coordinator, 4 games just like this to get it done. Will they get it done? No, Drew Alley, he's supposed to be playing in this one. He has looked better this season, but I think, when all's said and done, I think OSU, pulls it out. Just one of those games where, they don't want Ohio State not in the college playoffs. So, I think there might be some shenanigans in this one if it comes down to it.
There's been plenty of times when Ohio State's not been in the playoff. I love Penn State on the money line in this one at home at Happy Valley. Ohio State has played one tough opponent all year, and they lost that game. It was also one of their only road games of the season, and it was also because of horrific decision-making by the quarterback. You have a bad head coach. You have a quarterback that's a terrible on-field decision maker, a bad combination against a team that has been a second half pretty much rock all season long. Penn State has looked dead in the water in almost every single game this season and has come roaring back in the second half. That's what you call guts and heart. I rarely say that about a James Franklin coach. I think it might be the first time I've ever said it, to be honest with you, since he was at Vandy. But I think that, with Aller playing, that's why the line has moved. And the thing is that, you have a quarterback that's shown he can get it done against a quarterback that shows he can't get it done. And you have a coach who has a better shot at getting it done, because while we could say, oh, Ryan Day, whatever, and James Franklin this, Ryan Day hasn't won shit, man. He has not beaten a good team since he's been at Ohio State, man. He is lousy. I don't see it here, man. I see Penn State winning this thing outright. Storm the field in Happy Valley. Atlantis?
Oh, that's me. Speaking of teams that I think have a good shot at winning outright, give me Eastern Michigan and the points against Toledo. The MAC has been absolutely chaotic this season. And this is where we usually cash with Eastern Michigan in the underdog role at home. Why not spice it up a little bit? There's a bunch of teams. I think there's a 7-team logjam outside of first place in the MAC, all fighting for that one spot to get to the MAC title game. I just don't think Toledo should be 9.5-point favorites on the road here. Give me Eastern Michigan in the points with a bit on the money line.
I believe MACtion starts this week coming up.
Yes,
right?
It does.
So it does. So we'll see a big shakeup in the MAC for sure. Brian?
Yeah, I never like to go against Mitch, but I think I'm going to take Ohio State lay the points. I mean, Penn State, I've seen him play over the years. And Franklin, these are the type of games that he never really wins. Ohio
And
State,
when are these games, Brian, when are these games has Ryan Day won? And I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Sorry.
Go ahead and just let me know when Ryan Day's won a big game. I would love to hear this, man, because the answer is never.
In this game, one more loss by Ohio State, they're probably out of the football.
They've been out of it many times, man.
Penn State's
been out of it many
at home, and they're getting points. It seems, and they're higher ranked. It seems a little bit fishy to me. Ohio State is one of the most,
public teams,
best teams, in the nation. But in this spot, it's just a strong lean to Ohio State lay the points. I think they get it done. I think they're more talented than Penn State.
Senior Square. Al?
Oh, well, you know me. I'll just keep my mouth shut. So I'm going to look at the Air Force Army game.
What, on Penn State? I'd love to hear it. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't.
Go ahead.
I mean,
okay.
No, it's.
I don't care.
It's more. It's. I don't believe in the whole. This stuff looks fishy stuff. That's just.
No, I don't either. I think what we have here is a coach. That
the line, big games. I just don't believe there's no such thing as a fishy line. The lines are right. I mean, Vegas.
I think Penn State shouldn't be getting 3 points here.
Why should
like
they not be getting 3 points?
Well,
every
opponent that they've faced, I think they've had a slightly harder schedule than Ohio State. It's
why is Ohio State ranked 4th? That's what's fishy. That's what's fishy.
There's. I mean, the lines are based on numbers. They're not based on, like.
I don't know. It just doesn't look, to me, it looks like a pick 'em. To me, I'm surprised that Penn State's a +3.
Well, that's. I would say that if someone says something like that, that's their misapprehension of the talent of the teams. That has nothing to do with the line being fishy. That just means that someone misapprehends what the line should be. Anyway, let me just. I want to talk about Air Force Army because that's
I like that game.
That is a monster matchup.
Yeah, this is real Americans are going to watch today. We've got 2 teams going in opposite directions. Army has won 7 straight. Air Force has lost its last 6, both straight up and ATS. You guys know where I'm going with this. I'm going to take Air Force. Teams off 6 SUAT's losses. They've covered 62% since 1980 versus opponents off back-to-back wins. This is just a classic game where 2 teams are going in opposite directions, and you're going to take the ice-cold team.
Jovan?
You said take the ice cold team?
Yeah, that's what you do.
No, I was just saying. I was like, take the ice cold team. I was like, oh wow. I
Well, that's
thought
how
you
you
were
win
referring.
betting on sports. You don't been betting on sports, betting on the red hot game.
I understand. No, I understand. I'm not saying to pick. I'm saying, like you said, take the ice cold team. It threw me off. Just you saying take the
Yeah,
ice cold
sorry.
team. That's all. The one line that really gets me is the Illinois game. I don't know why it's +3. You know, and I might be going into a trap, but I'm gonna take the Illini. I do understand that Minnesota has played better, but unless there's something I'm missing, or there's an injury that I don't know about, I'm gonna take the home dog in this one. And, it's really just that simple. So if anyone has anything to fill in, to tell me that why I should be taking the other team. I know the line move and all that from earlier this week, but I don't understand it. So
I'm torn between two different games here, but I'm gonna take Auburn here and lay the points against Vandy. Vandy's been really good this season, and I mean they have played a murderer's row schedule. Missouri, Alabama, Texas. I mean they have certainly played them all, and Virginia Tech as well. They played, and they've beaten half of them and covered against the rest. And I think that 7.5 here for a reason, man. Auburn's stacked. They have a really good head coach. It just took them a while to figure out their quarterbacking situation. Auburn's a premier program. I think they beat Alabama this year too, and I'm going to take Auburn in this one. This team's going to close really strong and probably go into recruiting really, really big. They've already hit the recruiting trail really, really hard. They're just throwing money around like no one's business. So I expect the Tigers to make a late season run here, and it all starts here. Chris? Diego Pavia. Chris Ruffalo, Esquire, your witness.
I mean, you know me. I'm all about Diego Pavia, but just short and sweet for me. Give me Virginia Tech. Kyle McCord's a potato. He's got nothing between the ears. He's an idiot.
That was going to be my other pick. The one I was tied between is because Virginia Tech's the best 3-loss team in the nation. Easily.
Just like Virginia's the worst 6-2, or not Virginia. I'm sorry, Illinois is the worst 6-2 team I think I've ever seen. So, give me Virginia Tech. I don't think Kyle McCord's going to throw 5 picks again, but he's a first half quarterback. He's been great in the first half, and then all of a sudden in the second half, I think his touchdown to INT ratio is like 1-to-1. So, I look for Virginia Tech to get the job done here. I'm going to take Virginia Tech.
Brian, anything else?
Boy, I was really forced. It's a really tough choice here. I really love what Al said with Air Force. I think that's an excellent play, but I really regret not putting in the Auburn Tigers laying the points. I 100% agree with Mitch. If you look at Vanderbilt, they beat Kentucky, beat Alabama, give Missouri a tough game, give Texas a tough game, and they're getting 7.5 points or 6-2 ATS. Auburn, though, super talented, underperformed early. I think it's another coming out party. I think Auburn really crushes Vanderbilt today. I regret not putting it in as a premium.
You freeze
You still have time, don't you?
No, well, I try to get my stuff in by a certain time.
You freeze is a probation good recruiter. He is he's always right on the line. Right on the line. Al, anything else on these 12 o'clock games? What a gem of a start we got here, right?
Yeah, this is one of the best. This might be the best 12 noon slate we've had all season. I like Miami again. I like taking bad or cold teams. I like going against hot teams. Duke's covered its last 4. Underdogs of 14 or more on a 4-game or better ATS win streak of 49-72 and playing away from home. I'm going to take Miami.
Jovan, anything else? Any more? I mean, I do agree with Miami. And it's just because, given everything that happened years ago with Diaz and the switch to the current coach Cristobal, I think that Cristobal is going to want to lay it on Duke. Now years past when Elko was the coach, I probably would have took a shot with Duke, but Mike Elko's not there anymore. So give me the Hurricanes.
Yeah, Manny Diaz just couldn't beat Florida State, man, and you will not stay the head coach of Miami if you don't beat Florida State. That's for sure. Yeah, I think I'm good at this time slot. I think everyone's covered all the stuff, and I've kind of chimed in on a couple of ones too. So I really like Virginia Tech a lot. They were my play of the week last week. I think this is the team that nobody wants to face. And I'll tell you what, man, Ohio State doesn't make the playoff. They play against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech whips their ass. I know it, and you know it. Everybody knows it. I think Ohio State's the most overrated team. My wife's grandfather played quarterback at Ohio State, man. He was on like one of the best teams they ever had. So you guys, he's an Ohio State hater and everything like that. Maybe so. But at the same time, man, it's like, I don't care, man. You know what I like? Winning. And it's like, you have a team that just I don't
Miami might be the most
so explain to me, Whiz Kid, how Ohio State beats Nebraska at home by 4 points on a late touchdown, is fourth in the rankings, and Texas drops, winning at Vandy, who played Georgia, Alabama, Missouri. I mean, seriously, man, what is the logic there? That just shows you just how overrated and the public perception is on Ohio State and Will Howard, who, I mean, if he was still at Kansas State, everyone would still be saying the same things about him, which is, Chris, he sucks, right? So it's, I'm not really sure all of a sudden why he doesn't suck. I mean, you're having a train of suckage going on here, right? You got the McCord era.
Train of suckage isn't the right term, so we want to start throwing out here.
I misspoke.
Yeah.
Never mind. We go to our next time slot, and it wasn't one of my best, was it?
Yeah, no. You've had other really good ones. That one was kind of one normally I don't step in, but that one I felt I needed to.
Costi started the week like this, and that's kind of where we went with it.
Well, as a Michigan fan, I like the phrase a lot. So,
oh God, we're gonna have to get suckage train shirts now.
We've got UAB in Tulsa, Nebraska, UCLA, Florida, Georgia in the cocktail party. We got Oklahoma State, Arizona State, UCF, Arizona, Florida State, North Carolina. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Iowa State, Texas Tech, Michigan, Oregon. Number one last year versus number one this year. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. All that kind of stuff going on. Michigan State, Indiana. Oh, man. I have Indiana 7-8-0 against the number. I'm 0-8 against the number in Indiana games.
7-1.
7-1.
Yeah, they didn't cover their first game.
I'm 1-7 against the number in Indiana games this year. Houston, Kansas State. That's it. We'll just do the 330s. Chris, we'll start again with you.
All right. Give me see here. Sorry, I had my game. Give me Tulsa money line against UAB. I called Kyle McCord a potato. Trent Dilfer is the potato of the coaching ranks. He has been terrible. This UAB team is brutal. I have no idea why they're favored here. I know Tulsa could be in for a letdown after that, big comeback win over UTSA, but UAB sucks, and they don't know what they're doing. And Trent Dilfer is the cause of that. So give me Tulsa, just a straight fade to UAB more than anything else.
Yeah, for me, this is a tougher slot here. I guess I'm going to go here with the Florida State Seminoles plus the points. Maybe it's a sucker trap game here. I know UNC won 6-1 against the number. It's just Florida State. So they have lots of talent, just underperformed all year round. I think you're getting some value with the Seminoles. I'll take the plus 2.5 Florida State.
How?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to start off with the Florida Georgia game. This is same technical situation as the Duke Miami game. You've got a red hot Florida team getting a ton of points. And as I mentioned in the other game, when you get an underdog of 14 or more off 4 or more ATS wins when they're playing away from home, they've gone 49-72 ATS. So I'm automatically just going to be looking at the Bulldogs and then throw in the fact that Georgia's tremendous in this price range. Georgia's 36-1 straight up and 29-8 ATS when favored from 7 to 20. So I'll lay it with the Bulldogs.
Javon?
Looking at this Arizona UCF game, and I know that Arizona, they're 1-7 against the spread this season, but I definitely don't want to lay it with the Knights down there in Central Florida. A lot of mistakes being made with both teams, but I saw what Arizona did last season. I think that getting out of their own confines in Tucson, going on the road, I think it'll do them some good. So I'm a back the road dog in this one.
He's going to take Michigan here plus the points against Oregon. Oregon, probably the worst number one team we've seen in the country in a long time. And I think they're ripe for the pick. And if there's ever a number one team that's not really the best team in the country, it's this Oregon team. As a Miami fan, like, we have an up and coming team this year. And I think, there's certain teams that we don't match up well against. Georgia, right? I mean, that would probably be a tough day at the office for us. I think we could beat Oregon, man. I think we can. They're not a very good second half team, and we are a great second half team. And the thing is that Oregon in the second half has really taken their foot off the gas in a lot of these games. So you can't lay 14.5 points on the road, with a team that takes their foot off the gas. I also think Dylan Gabriel is way overrated too as a quarterback. And I think that, he has this is the type of spot, Michigan in November. Oh man, I'm not a fan of Michigan football. I don't think I know I hide it really well, but I'm actually not a fan of Michigan football. And the thing is that I do think, though, like, the big house in November at home is a different story. That is college football. I like Michigan here. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to more than sprinkle on the money line here on the Wolverines as well. I always say, man, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Michigan is the defending champs, even though this year their team is not a shell of what they were last year. You still got to beat number one if you want to be number one. And I don't think Oregon is a true number one. I think they've kind of defaulted into that position. Your Honor, Counselor, your witness.
Oh, I got upgraded. Okay.
Counselor, no, it was I misspoke, just like on the last segment with the train.
I have it stricken from the record.
Just like the suckage train.
Oh God.
Just to be clear, I didn't say suckage train.
You might have said suckage train.
Might have said
it. Give me Texas Tech in the points. I know this Texas Tech offense is brutal, Texas Tech defense, is brutal, but 13.5 just seems like a lot. I think Texas Tech can at least keep this one respectable, within 10 points. They've won against tough teams already this season. Arizona State, Cincinnati. They're coming off the 1-point loss to TCU on the road. Iowa State solid defensively, but there have been times this season where we've seen they've had close calls, like the 1-point win over Iowa. They covered against Houston, but only because Houston couldn't score in that game. And Iowa State coming off of that narrow win at home over UCF. I think Texas Tech can at least, like I said, keep it within the numbers. Give me Texas Tech in the points.
Brian?
Well, I'm going to 100% agree with Mitch 2 segments in a row, but I really like Michigan, the big house in November, all these points. I think you're selling high on Oregon, buying low Michigan. I know they Michigan beat Michigan State last week, but this is a big one here, over 2 touchdowns. I think Michigan has a chance to outright them, but I'll take the points.
Al?
Yeah, I'm on the other side of Chris. On the Texas Tech Iowa State game. For me, Iowa State, they're 7-0, so they're undefeated on the season. They've also, the key factor for me in this game is that they're playing with a week of rest, and undefeated home teams playing with a week off. They've gone 153 and 114. ATS is double-digit favorites. So I'm going to lay the points with Iowa State.
Javon?
Gonna look at the total in the Florida-Georgia game. Look at the last 2 seasons. Georgia's just jumped out on Florida, and it's been a situation where Florida has chased points. There's really nothing I see in this game to see a difference in the game scripting in this one as opposed to the last two seasons. Florida's gonna let you score. That's just their defense has been playing better, but if you look at the overall numbers, nothing too much to write home about. On the other side, Georgia, they've been in certain spots. They got a mobile quarterback in Lagley over there in Florida, so I think he could do enough damage to contribute to the scoring in this one. I think that this for 52 and a half, I think it's just a little bit too light for my liking, so I like the over in this one.
I'm going to go with UCLA in the points against Nebraska. UCLA is kind of getting a little bit better. They won last week against Rutgers, and I just think that both these teams, you take the schedule that these two teams have played, holy crap, man. You put like Ohio State or like any of those top ranked teams, even Alabama, and up against what these guys have played. And I think it's probably a different story. This is the gauntlet schedule. So UCLA took that, 6-hour road trip, 6-hour flight to Hawaii to open the season, then played Oregon, Penn State, Minnesota, and Rutgers. Basically the college football top 15 rankings, outside of Rutgers. Meanwhile, Nebraska played Illinois, Rutgers, Indiana, and Ohio State. This is ridiculous, right? Compared to what some of these other teams play. I don't know, man. I just got to feel that at this point, both these teams are kind of in their groove, and I think this is going to be a low-scoring, crappy game. We saw 21-17 Ohio State, Nebraska last week, 35-32 Rutgers. Before that, I think this one's closer to that Minnesota-UCLA game, 21-17 type score. I think UCLA probably loses, but fights the good fight. That's a crazy, crazy schedule. Indiana, LSU, Oregon, Penn State, Minnesota. That's nuts. No wonder. But in that, they covered 4 out of 5 against those. Chris, give me the look. He's always so judgy, man.
I'm not judgy. I'm looking at my screen.
Super judgy, man.
No further questions.
He's always judging, man. So he does not look like.
No further questions.
What are you talking about, man?
You're a witness.
Anything else in this slot?
No, nothing for me.
Brian?
Yeah, slightly into the Houston Cougars plus the points. Yeah. Kansas State, close win against in-state rival Kansas last week. Houston playing a little bit better football over the last 3 games. I'll take Houston plus the points.
Geddy Lee or Ruffalo?
Ruffalo.
All right, there you go. Al, any more?
That's it for me.
Jovan?
Slight nod to the Cyclones. In the beginning of the week, I wanted to be on Texas Tech, but I just see too many deficiencies on the defensive end of the ball to where I just can't do it. It's a bad spot for them being on the road. They'll give it up, and everything that Texas Tech doesn't do well, Iowa State does do well. So I would have no choice but to be on Iowa State.
I'm going to take one more time. Give me Michigan State on the money line here against Indiana. Indiana's starting quarterback is back in, but didn't even really move the line at all. I don't know, man. I just think, I don't know. I've lost this much on Indiana. I might as well, or betting against Indiana. I might as well ride it all the way. I might as well just continue riding. This is what I call the Bittler strategy.
Yeah,
and then when they finally win, when they finally don't cover, you know what I say? I told you so.
Told you so.
Told you so. 1 in 10, but I told you so.
Yeah, that was my trick or treat free gift yesterday. Was Michigan State, or 2 days.
There you go. There's some good games in that slot, though. There's some really, really good ones. It's like the schedule is not, all that attractive from a high level, but like when you dig in, a lot of good games here, a lot of good betting games. How many plays you got today, Al? It's You're usually
I've got 13 in football, but that also includes the one Canada game. And then I've got 4 in the NBA and 1 in hockey.
What are you selling on that? Like we have packages.
Yeah, I mean, I've got so many packages. I've got 2 triple packs. I've got a rare 5-star play today, just my second 5-star in 5.5 months, and got my Big Ten game of the month. Yeah, so lots of good stuff. If folks want to team me up with any of these guys here on the show, we've got the 2-for-1 handicapper special and the 3-for-1 handicapper special. So that's the best way to go.
How about you, Jovan? Usually have a few 5-packs out there on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's no different from today. I have my usual 16 on the board. They're broken down into a 5-pack in the noon time slot, a 5-pack in the 3:30 to 4 o'clock time slot, and a 3-pack in the prime time slot. And then I have, a couple. Actually, I have 3 more plays that aren't on any packages. So, if you need all those, get something long term. And I will have a couple NBA on the board in a little bit.
How about you, Brian? Any leftover candy from Halloween?
I always have leftover candy, some Reese's peanut butter cups, some Kit Kats. But what I got for sale today, I got 5 college football, 1 NBA, 1 NHL. My best bets in college football. It's an 8 p.m. start. My titanium play, $25, pickdogs.com. 18 and 12 run on my best bet, 60%. So make sure you check it out.
Chris, anything for you?
Yeah, I got a bunch of 3-packs on the board for college football. Got my college football platinum play for $25. Also got a 3-pack from the NBA and NHL, and my NHL power play for $15.
Got a bunch of college football. I've only put up 2 college football packages so far. I'm gonna still packaging it together, and then I got another 2 NBA plays as well so far. One will be my top play, and the other one will be whatever NBA. I started the season slow, but I think I've hit a bunch in a row.
I think you're number 1 right now in the NBA. Last I looked. So.
I'm the 2-week champion, not even 2 weeks. It doesn't really mean that much, but we'll of course take wins on the overall record. But yeah, I think the NBA. It's just I've said a million. Last year was my worst NBA season that I've had. It was the first year that I didn't end up on the leaderboard for the NBA, and it's because I went against the Celtics a few too many times in the playoffs, and I was positive all the way until the finals. But I think I learned my lesson, trying to take a step back. But the thing about the NBA, man, it's like, it just seems that every year there's more good players, man. It just gets better and better and better. It's like, I love that the NBA has not taken a step back this season, man. They are just pedal to the metal, man. They are just NFL. I don't care. College football. I don't care. World Series. I don't care, man. We're playing. It's like, that's what they're doing. I love it, man. It's like the games are better than ever. Man. There's no really bad teams except for
Spurs.
I prefer college basketball. But...
Well, Monday college basketball, we got a gigantic schedule. I've got 2 of my preview magazines finally, just in the nick of time. So make it. But anyways, let's get to this next set of games. We start at 4 p.m. We'll cover I'll just list the big ones, but we'll cover them all. Rice, Navy, Mississippi State, UMass, Clemson, Louisville, Washington, USC, Iowa, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky, Baylor, TCU, SMU, Pitt, and that's it. And late games are 8 o'clock. Nevada, Colorado State. Normally, that game's normally a snowstorm. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, the number's gone up throughout the week, but I'm still going to stick with Tennessee laying the number against Kentucky. I stand by it. I think Kentucky could be the worst team in the SEC. The defense can only do so much before you got to start putting up points, and Kentucky just has not been doing that. And Brock Vandagriff showing why he couldn't cut it at Georgia. He was never going to be the guy. Thought he was going to be the guy at Kentucky, and it's not even looking like that's going to be the case. Kentucky struggling to move the ball on the ground. I think Tennessee, the offense breaks out here. They win this one by 3 scores. Give me Tennessee.
Ryan?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to strong lean towards the Rice Owls plus the points. Navy off that, they got crushed 51-14 to Notre Dame last week. Rice playing relatively better football recently, even though they didn't cover the spread last week against UConn. They were right there in that one. I think it's just too many points. I think Navy wins this one by a touchdown, but I'll take the 11.5 in the Rice.
Brian all over the Owls, like white on rice. Al.
I like the home team, Clemson against Louisville. It's just a momentum play, really. Clemson coming off, 2 big high-scoring games where they scored 48 and 49. So I'm gonna take Clemson minus the points.
Dabo Swinney, 4,621-0 in November home games at night. Jovan?
Yeah, I'm on Baylor in this one. And, the situation is this. Baylor's been getting boat race for, a decade against TCU. It hasn't even been close. I think Baylor's won like once. But this is kind of a down TCU team. Like last couple of seasons, TCU hasn't been, playing at the level that they were playing at. So with them playing better in the last couple of weeks, I think TCU is right for the picking in this one. I had to back away from it as being a premium just because, when one team is, having so much success against another one, you might want to take notice on that. So I just left it alone. But as a free pick, yeah, the Solstice go.
I'm gonna roll with Washington against USC. Washington is a really good home team. I know that they dropped that game to Washington State earlier this year, but they're 17-1 straight up in their last 18 at home. Jeb Fish is a good coach, and Lincoln Riley really in a rut. And I would not be laying points at USC against anyone. I don't know if Lincoln Riley's in danger of being fired, but he might be in danger of being fired, man. It's like you wouldn't think it, a couple of years ago, whatever. But it's like I think he's in trouble. USC.
They own too much money.
Well, it didn't stop Texas A&M from firing Jimbo Fisher. USC has a lot of money, man. They're a private school, but they have a lot of money, man.
But they're a quarterback away from turning that whole thing around and shaping up, continuing to shape up the defense. Defense has played.
What about last year though? They had a quarterback and they couldn't win then either.
No, I know, but hey. But, they have played better this year defensively than they did last year. I think that, being in the Big Ten, they're going to give them some time to acclimate to the Big Ten. That's what I think.
But their losses that they've taken are not just against the Big Teners either, man. Well, I guess they have been. Michigan, Minnesota, Maryland. Boy, any school with an M really is bad news for them. And then Penn State. So they've played a pretty tough schedule as far as Big Ten teams go. That win against LSU just seems so long ago. The thing is that last year they lost by 18 to UCLA also on top of it. And that's the thing. Like, if you start getting into this pattern of losing to UCLA, if you're the USC head coach, you're not going to last very long. It doesn't matter who you are. Didn't they fire John Robinson? And John McKay. It's like, man, the expectations at USC are high. They have a lot of money. Their alumni base is like, isn't USC like big money to get to go there, right?
Huge.
It's huge. It's because it's kind of like Miami where it's seen like it's a state school, but it isn't, and it's like it's actually super expensive. Private school. Chris?
Yeah, for what it's worth, that home win streak's actually still intact. That game against Washington State was on a neutral field.
So 18 in a row at home.
Yeah. Give me the over in Wisconsin, Iowa. Never thought Iowa overs would be a money machine, but they have been this season now that Iowa has some semblance of an offense. 40 points in back-to-back home games. I still can't believe I'm saying 40-point home games in Iowa in the same sentence, but it is what it is. Wisconsin, they've been able to find some offense as well. I'm going to go with the over 41. It feels like we're back in time with these Iowa low totals, but I think we go over the number here.
Brian?
Yeah, for me in the late stretch, not the strongest grouping of games here, but I again agree with Mitch. I don't know if this is a fourth time on the show today, but I think
Record.
Washington Huskies at home plus the points. Washington always a different team at home. Over the last 5 games with USC over the years, they've covered 4 of the last 5. I just think when you're getting points with Washington, you got to lay with USC on the road. I'd rather have the points for the Huskies at home, so I'll take Washington.
Al?
Yeah, I'm going to look at the Miss State, game with apologies to Ron Romanelli. I don't know because I'm talking about the game, but I'm sure he's the number one fan of the UMass Minutemen. He's probably on the Minutemen today, but who knows? Maybe he's not. This is a down in class game for Miss State. They've lost 7 straight FBS games in a row. They did win their opener against Eastern Kentucky, an FCS school, but since then they've gotten slaughtered. Last week, I actually faded them. I took Arkansas. Arkansas won by 33. So you've got a situation where you've got a big home favorite. They're favored by 19 against UMass, coming off a massive home loss by 33 points. So I just see Mississippi State taking out its frustrations on UMass and blowing the doors off the Minutemen.
Jovan?
Yeah, we're going to look at the Gamecocks of South Carolina going up against Texas A&M. And Texas A&M, they're in prime position to, be a one-loss team going into that rivalry game against Texas. Not sure if they drop it tonight, but it's going to be a dogfight, and I want my money on the Gamecocks, the home dog, catching the points. Wish it was at 4 or something like that. I guess they set this line just right. But nevertheless, I see 3. I want my money on the dog. So, give me the Gamecocks.
All right. So, any of these other any games on the board that you might have missed, Chris? Anything? Or are you good to go? Speak now or forever hold your peace on the college football card.
No, I'm good to go.
How about it, Brian? Anything?
Good to go for me.
Al?
I'm good to go.
Jovan?
Yeah, I think we squeezed the orange dry on this on this one.
I'm going to add Penn State to my picks. I think that Ohio State just problems at the quarterback position.
You already said that earlier. Ohio State's the play there. I think you're wrong on that one.
All right.
It's the one we disagree on.
One guy says Penn State, one guy says Ohio State. That's
Why
why
can't
they
you
do
all
it that
agree?
way. That's what they do. They never lose because one guy's got one and one guy's got the other.
Then when you agree, it's just they're a bunch of yes men and they all just agree on the same.
If I go first.
Penn State, Ohio State would beat Miami though.
Not this year. Not this year.
It's like the video. We give out the side. Why? What about the over under? And then it's like you give out a total. What about who's going to win? It's like, I
think that Penn State and Ohio State's best football might be behind them, while Miami's best football, I believe, is still ahead of them. And I think that's the difference.
They really haven't played anybody. Maybe at the beginning
they played everybody that's been.
I know. It's a weak schedule.
It's a weak schedule. Al, we cut you off there.
No. I was just gonna say, like, as a Michigan fan, this is like my dream game because the 2 teams I hate most in college football are Penn State and Ohio State. So I get to see one of them lose today. So it's a good day.
I always throw and root for lots of penalties and lots of injuries, and it makes it better.
I guess, but the nightmare situation is one of these 2 teams, is going to ascend in the polls, and it's going to be number 1 or number 2 after this game. So that's a flip side of the coin.
Go to the NBA. Jay said he was going to join us for NBA, but I don't know if he's going to or not, if he's watching. But he's welcome to come in for NBA. This has been a crazy start to the season. I didn't expect anything different. We're just a couple weeks away from the in-season tournament, right? November 15th. So I like that. I didn't think I was going to like it, and then I did like it.
I think that's the stupidest thing.
What do you like about it? I don't like it at all.
What's the point?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a curmudgeon. I don't really.
Because the point is that nobody sits.
I mean, just I don't know.
Nobody sits except Bradley Beal during the in-season tournament.
I guess that's a fair point, but it's like,
The
yay,
words-
Lakers are the defending champions. Who gives a fuck?
The word load management don't apply to the in-season tournament.
500,000 a man, right, for the win. Which is lunch for LeBron, but for the rest of us,
Spago for LeBron.
this is Bill at Spago. The sides. It was the sides. All right, we got the Hornet against the Celtics. I just saw this game. I've seen this somewhere before. It's our first real back-to-back of the season.
They've had a few. You had Golden State, New Orleans. You've had.
Were they but those weren't back-to-back days. Those were day off game, right?
No, Golden State, New Orleans. I'm pretty sure was
I
back-to-back
think
days.
Golden State New Orleans was.
That was no rest was in there. Was in between there.
I try and forget that. In my Giants video this week, I thanked the NFL for not sticking us.
For not putting them in prime time.
Oh man. Anyways, the NBA starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. Of course, college football's last start is at 8 o'clock. So this is like perfect. The perfect storm. What do you guys think? Like, do you think the NBA is now more popular than college football, right?
Not to me, but maybe I'm.
But I mean, as far as like, I'm not saying which one I like better. I'm just saying which is more popular. I think the NBA is.
I think the NBA as well.
More popular than college football. A lot more popular.
I think pro leagues are always more popular than college leagues. Always.
They've done a really good job marketing. Just a really, really good job, and of taking their superstars and marketing those guys really well. And the guys that are the superstars have done a really good job with it too. I mean, you never see LeBron James in trouble or anything like that, right? Never, ever. Anyways, Charlotte and Boston, we just saw this one, and Philly and the Grizz. Oh man, Philly's a tough one to figure out. Chris.
Oh boy. If I had to pick anything here, I lean towards the Grizzlies. I know both these teams are banged up, but it just feels like the Phillies are really missing Joel Embiid and still don't know what to get from Paul George. At least Memphis still has Jaren Jackson Jr. They still got John Morant. And I think that could be enough for Memphis here. Philly's offense is just falling off a cliff for the better part of the season. So give me Memphis laying the point here. Or
double Memphis for you. You took Memphis in college football, and now you're taking Memphis again.
Yeah, Memphis. Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
Memphis hockey team, though.
It could be.
Maybe.
Could be. Things don't
For
work
me-
out in Utah. Brian?
For me in this slide, I got burnt yesterday taking Charlotte, but I'll get back on them as far as free picks go. Back-to-back game spot, tough to beat teams 2 games in a row. Charlotte and Detroit are 2 of my favorite young teams in the NBA. I just think it's a 10-point win max for Boston. I think Charlotte plus the points the way to go there.
Al?
Well, I mean, it's not tough to beat a team two games in a row. I mean, especially if you're an 11-point favorite. Although we're not talking about beating them, we're talking about covering the spread. So maybe that's what
Maybe I'm a Boston hater. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at the stats, like in this situation where teams play in the regular season back-to-back games at the same venue, like if the home team, loses the first game, Suats, it's basically 50-50. The next game, it's 54 and 54 ATS. So half the time they've bounced back to cover, half the time they haven't. Notwithstanding that boring statistic, I like Charlotte here plus the points.
Jovan?
I'm on the other side. You watched a quarter of these teams playing, just like I did. I turned it off. I saw enough, knew what was going to happen for the rest of the game, even though there was ebbs and flows of the game. After that, it's just a situation where, if I don't have a reason to, go against the Celtics. I'm not going to do it. It's really, really that simple. You're dealing with a Charlotte team they still don't have Brandon Miller. They're going to need him, to be competitive in their ball games. Even though all the guys have stepped up, LaMelo Ball has, done good. Nick Richards, he's played well as well, also. But I think that unless the Celtics have one of those off nights from 3, then it's a Celtics blowout or nothing else as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think this is a tough slot because Memphis has so many injuries, and the Sixers, 2 key guys are injured here too. But I don't know. I think this is 6 of one, half dozen the other. I'll lean to the Sixers at home on a Saturday night, and I don't know. I don't love it. The Celtics were going to be one of my premium picks, and then I kind of peeled off of it. And I did the same thing with Minnesota yesterday, and it worked out for me. So I'm going to think the Celtics win, but I'm going to side with Brian there that I think it's maybe a 9-10 point game, and I think it's going to be one of those, where it's kind of like people back in the Celtics are going to be beating up the jam session comments saying how Vegas fixed it and Celtics sold, and kind of the same story that we hear every day. Next up, we go to the next 2 games on the board. We've got Toronto and Sacktown. So Sacramento, a road favorite again. And then we've got Houston and Golden State. Warriors were just unbeatable on the road last season. Brian?
Boy, this is a tough slot here, but and I'm going to go here at the Toronto Raptors plus the points, 5-1 ATS in the year, which doesn't really mean much. They've been covering games, but it's just Sacramento on the road lane, almost double digits. Not really a spot that I like to beat normally. I'll take the Raptors at home. I think they keep it respectable.
Al?
I don't like either of these games with an asterisk. If Houston was favored by 6 or more, currently the line ranges from 4.5 to 5. But if the line spikes up to 6, then I do like Houston -6 or higher.
Jovan?
Yeah, this is Golden State game. They don't have Steph Curry, so it's, this is one of those things where if they play the way they played in that first game without Curry, then I could see them, doing damage in this one and possibly taking this one on the money line. But you're gonna need Buddy Hield. You're gonna need I forget how to say his name, Plasinski or whatever his name is, and Andrew Wiggins is gonna have to perform as well. Can they? Of course they can. But this Houston squad, they do hang their hat on the defensive end of the court. So, I'm a begrudgingly back the Warriors in this one. But it's just it's not one of my favorites.
I'm going to take the Warriors on the money line in this one. They're not a good team without Steph traditionally. 86 and 147 straight up without Steph, but 2-0 this season without Steph. So I don't know. I'll go with this season. I'll take the value and the money line with the Warriors in a game that I'll tell you what, might have to more than twist my arm to get me to bet this one. You might have to go into my wallet, take my money, and put it down at the window. But I do think that there's value there in the Warriors. Curry out, and it's a lot to replace. I'm going to go with the Raptors also. I'm just going to continue to try and fade the Kings on the road. It has not worked out for me this season. I'll be honest with you now. Chris?
Yeah, I'll take the Warriors and the points as well. Put something on the money line too. Houston, profitable road team last year, and they've done well against Memphis earlier this season, but they also lost to Charlotte. Golden State just keeps finding a way. Still a fairly deep team. Andrew Wiggins going to be back for this game, so I think that'll help with the depth. And I think Golden State can at least keep this one close, if not win it outright. So give me Golden State in the points, and a lean towards the Raptors plus the 8 for me as well. Another team just keeps finding a way to grind out covers, and they didn't have to travel on the back-to-back. They get to stay home. So give me Toronto plus the 8.
Next up, we head to Milwaukee, where the Bucks have been absolutely pathetic. That Giannis free throw the other night, that was about as bad as it gets. Kind of summed it all up. It was one of those ones where I was watching the game. I kind of glanced over and just caught it, where the ball was hitting the net there on the air ball free throw. But the Bucks are just, I don't know what's going on there. Normally, so we saw it last year that kind of the luster was off the Bucks because they had been slaughtering teams at home, just killing them. And then last year we didn't see it so much. This year, they lost to the Bulls at home, right? So Bucks versus the Cavs, and then we've got Spurs versus the Timberwolves, who thankfully I took off my premium plays yesterday and got extremely lucky.
Al, which one did you get lucky on?
Well, I took the game off. I had the Timberwolves.
Me too.
I would have lost
3.5, and I lost that one.
I would have lost. I took it off.
I wasn't smart.
I've been playing the NBA really light. One play a day, maybe two. Al, it's you.
Yeah. Just watching my Spurs play, they've looked horrible once again this season. So I'm going to, until further notice, I'll be fading them a lot. I like Minnesota.
Jovan?
Didn't the Spurs win last game against
Yeah, but the other team had what's his face was out. Markkanen was out.
Oh yeah. No.
I mean, Utah had no players. It's just.
Sheesh. Yeah, I mean, for me, there's really no way that I'm getting in the way of the Cleveland train. That's just the long and the short of it. With this line being what it is, it does raise some eyebrows. Maybe the odds makers aren't believers of what Cleveland's doing yet, but the Bucks, they're just living off their name. They're living off that championship, and they're not that team. So it's either Cleveland or nothing. I can't do it with the Bucks. Not in this early season and in the form they're in. They need some more shooters. They don't have that, and they need to buck up on defense, and they're not doing that as well.
Cavs are the top offensive team in the NBA, second best in three-point shooting percentage. I think that the Bucks, like Jovan said, they're living off the past, man, and because the Cavs, the bad teams in the NBA become bettable and become competitive on the defensive side of the court. That's how you see the team start to move up the standings. And I go over this. I talk about it all the time on the morning show. The Atlanta Hawks are my prime example. Every time we see them in that 28 to 30 ranking in defense, the coach gets fired. They move up to about 16, 14, 12 in that range, make the playoffs. Then they become that same old lazy, no defense Hawks. Coach gets fired. It's a vicious cycle, right? We see it all the time. And then you see teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder who, have gone and made their way all the way up the ranks, top defense in the NBA. Well, you look at the Cavs and they said, winning on the road in the playoffs is what killed us last year. That's what killed us. We beat Orlando 4-3. We won all the home games. We lost all the road games. It's like, how do you win on the road, man? You got to play defense. You got to play defense. And the Cavs, 6th best defense in the NBA. I know it's way early. I like the Cavs in this one. Chris, the Bucks without Giannis's brother. I know they're not the same.
I know they're not the same. Not the same. That's why I'm taking the Cavs. I'm not stepping in front of Cleveland right now until the Bucks show me a pulse. Yeah, give me the Cavaliers. The offense is just playing really well right now. I thought it was going to be Cleveland's defense that was going to carry the load for them, at least early on this season, but nope. Second in the NBA in offensive efficiency. The Bucks are just struggling. So give me the Cavs, and I'll lean towards the Spurs and the points. I think Timberwolves have a bit of a letdown here after that big win over Denver, that come from behind win against Denver yesterday. So lean towards the Spurs and the points.
Brian?
Boy, my good friends here, Pick Dogs, are killing me in this one. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks, that's my kind of team right now. They should have Brian Bittler's Milwaukee Bucks right after. They're struggling. But Cleveland 6-0 against the spread, 6-0 straight up. I mean, how could you not like the Cavaliers getting 1.5 here? It just looks like that type of game. But they are in a back-to-back. Milwaukee, I think, is a must-win game for them at home. If I'm only laying 1.5 here, I think it's a gift. I think the Bucks finally get a big win here. I'll take the Bucks.
I think you can go a stendo clip on the Cavaliers tonight. That's what I
You're
think.
crazy. You're crazy. We'll see.
7 to 10 point
I really
victory.
regret not putting in the Bucks now. I didn't even see this one. I should have been digging in deeper.
We got Washington against the Miami Heat, and we've got the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers. Jovan?
Say those two teams again.
It's the Suns and the Blazers and the Wizards and the Heat.
Oh, boy. One thing I will never do is lay any substantial amount of points with the Miami Heat. Can't do it, won't do it. I don't care how bad the other team is. No, it's just a situation where Miami, they usually, play games with these teams that they are supposed to beat. They'll have a 6 to 8 point victory and just fall short of the cover. So I think that's what happens in this one. I don't know if Kyle Kuzma's playing. I know he was out one of those a couple nights ago, but whether or not he's playing,
He's out. He's out.
But regardless, it doesn't really matter. Saul did look good. Alex Saul did look good, or has looked good in the times that I've seen him play. So, bad team, but not bad enough to get boat raced at home against Miami.
Well, it's not at home. It's in Mexico City.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. It is. So regardless, it doesn't matter to me where it's at. It can be played on the moon.
Right.
I'm going to take Miami against the Wizards. I just think they're the way better team, and I think this is just the type of place, type of game which just sets up. The Heat, they either are a play-in team or they have the best record in the East. So we know that regardless of where they go into the playoffs, they're going to be a handful for somebody. And they're not going to be great on every night. We know that. It's just not the way that they will. But I think they're good enough here. I'm going to take the Heat. And on the other side, I love the Blazers against the Suns. I think the Blazers are doing exactly the same thing that I just talked about, starting to play defense. The Blazers are 15th ranked in the NBA in defense. And you're like, oh, 15th ranked doesn't mean anything. It's the Portland freaking Trailblazers, man, that are 15th. It's like, it's not, the Bucks or the Rock, or not even Rockets, but I mean, like, a team like that, like the Sixers or something. It's the freaking Blazers, man. You would think they would be 28, 29, or 30. It's like Scoot Henderson working on that plus minus. Chris? You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you. I'm leaning towards the Wizards and the points. I don't love either one of these games, but the Heat, from whenever I back them, they always play down to lesser opposition. And I know it's only a matter of time before the Wizards start playing like crap again, but they're playing decent right now. Maybe that had to do with back-to-back games against the Hawks, but this is where the rubber's going to meet the road if it's actually legit or if it was just fool's gold. So give me the Wizards, give me the points, but don't love it.
Rubber meets the road. Ryan?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect roof flow slot here. But, if I had to pick one, I'm going to take the Miami Heat. I agree with Mitch here. Miami's played a pretty tough schedule to start the season. Orlando, Charlotte, Detroit, New York. Not easy teams. I think playing in Mexico City.
Charlotte, Detroit.
Hey, I like Charlotte and Detroit. I think they like.
No, I just didn't recognize those as Eastern Conference playoff teams this year.
No, but I think this year they have a chance to make the playoffs. I like their young talent. Unlike the Spurs, I think the Pistons and Charlotte are going to be a team that you got to keep your eye on. Anyway, I think it's kind of like a home team.
Detroit's going to be like the worst team in the. I don't think Detroit's won a game this year.
They're just getting started.
Okay.
You have to remember that Brian also said Trace McSorley was the next Joe Montana, and Ben Simmons.
No, I just want to make sure, like, the NBA only has 30 teams, not 362, right? So
Detroit has a good roster. They just haven't got the W's yet.
The roster is not constructed well. They're horseshit.
Yeah, they're all right.
Okay.
All right. I like Detroit. Maybe I'm biased here. Anyway, I like Miami to kick the crap out of the Washington Wizards. I think Washington might be the worst team in basketball. Anyway, I like Miami.
Al, did we start with you? I don't think so.
I'm just not going to – I mean, I'm going to say what everyone else has said. I like Miami as well. I mean, it's, for me, it's just going against a team like Washington off back-to-back high-scoring upset wins. They scored 121 and 133 in those 2 victories versus the Hawks. So it's just a fade against Washington in this game.
Got our last time slot here. It is the Denver Chicken Nuggets up against the Utah Jazz and the Clippers against OKC. I'm up. So Denver showing finally a pulse last night against Minnesota. So now they're a 10.5 point home favorite against the Utah Jazz. I'll take the Utah Jazz in that one. And then the other one, the Clippers against OKC. I'll take the Clippers plus the points. I think the Thunder can win that game, but I think people just really don't understand the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are a defense first team, man. And it's like 5.5 points in a Thunder game is like, 10 in another game. I'm no way I could lay that on the road. I'm going to taking the Clippers. I think the Thunder could win the game, but I think it's like a 2-point game. It's one of those ones that come right down to the wire. Even if they win by 5, you still cover with the Clippers. I mean, what world? Rufalo's world?
100%. Extended line on the Thunder tonight. Won all 5 games by double digits, even being a defensive team. They've won all 5 games by 23, 12, 24, 19, and 15.
Got lucky. A couple calls went their way.
1 or 2 turnovers. So give me the Thunder. And I'm going to take the under in that Jazz Nuggets game. The Jazz could sneak in the back door, but their offense has been terrible in the last 3 games. And now we have no Lauri Markkanen. Is that what I'm seeing too? So, their last 4 games, 88, 96, 102, and 86. I think Denver's going to have a bit of a letdown after frustrating loss to Minnesota last night where they blew that lead. So give me the under 220.5.
Right.
Yeah, for me, and then me in this time slot, I'm going to take the Utah Jazz plus the points. It's just too many points. Denver, first game back off 3-game road trip, back-to-back spot. Now they got to cover double digits. I'll lean to taking the Jazz plus the points.
Out.
Yeah, I mean, Denver, everyone talks about Denver's home court advantage and all that stuff, but when they're playing at home without rest, and of course they played last night, they're 57 and 108 ATS. Horrible. I'll take Utah.
Jovan, last but not least.
Yeah, man, I'm on the other side. I'm on Denver. They finally get to face. Well, not to say that they didn't face that in their 2 overtime wins, facing subpar teams, but with the Jazz playing, they just haven't looked well in without their best player. Meanwhile, Denver, they did show a post last night, and I think that emboldens them to, go on one of those patented runs that they have going on at home against this team. I watched a couple of games against, with these 2 teams involved, and the Jazz they played. They were a team that covered for us. They won some games, and just I don't know. It just presents a matchup problem, I think, involving when they play the Nuggets, and it's usually like around the 3rd quarter where it happens, where the Nuggets, they go on that run against. It's a close game with the Jazz, and then they go on that run and they never look back. And I think that's at their best, if it's not from start to finish, blowout. If it's close in the second half, Denver, will come alive and get the job done. So it was at 9.5. It's jumped up to 10.5. I don't care if it's at 15. I'm laying. I think it's a 20-point victory. It's one of those get right, feel good games. It's too early in the season, for me to factor in, second nights of back-to-backs. In some spots, it depends on what the team as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, Denver for me.
All right, parlay time, Chris.
All right, let's go with the Oh, sorry, I lost my spot. Give me 1 second.
Or you could also give it any NHL picks that you want, or MLS or anything else that's going on. Mm-hmm. They're all in that other category.
The other. No. Let's go parlay. Let's have some fun.
Let's go to Finland.
Let's skate on over to Finland. Let's go with the 2-team money line parlay. Let's go Stanford. Let's go Eastern Michigan.
There was like a 3-hour post-game Panthers show. I had it on one of the small TVs.
Did you?
You know, it was about 3 hours, man. About how important of a win it was for the Panthers with their Finnish players. What? You guys get a little carried away. Brian?
For my parlay, I'm going to take the Auburn Tigers laying the points, Air Force Falcons plus the points, and the Milwaukee Bucks on the money line.
Al?
Oh gosh, I'll take Air Force, and I'll parlay that with. Oh, let's just go with Mississippi State.
Jovan?
We'll give out 2. Go chalk on this one. Celtics, Nuggets, and then we'll roll with Florida, Georgia over OSU, and Miami, 3-teamer.
I'm going to go Eastern Michigan, and Michigan State. All on the money line also. Go money line and with the points. 2 parlays. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to check out all of our premium picks. Those are our best bets. We give out free picks. You know, that's generally an opinion. And, of course, we try and win every single one. But our best bets, always our premium picks. We try and have something for everyone. People say, oh, they save their best ones for the premiums, whatever. Probably so, you know, but it's still at the same time, you know, I don't know, man. I give out tons of free picks, but so does everybody here. So there's no one here that doesn't want to win every single pick and every single thing they say to happen exactly the way they say it. You know, it's like,
otherwise we get, you know, verbally destroyed by, you know.
I get verbally destroyed either way. I get it either way, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's, you know, I see people say stuff like that or whatever. It's like, yeah, right. You know, it's like, I understand like buying picks isn't for everyone, and it's meant for people that, you know, make bigger bets and people that, you know, just don't have time to do the research, but they want to make big bets on games, you know. But other people, it's like you do your own research. You just want to know our opinion on stuff, and that's cool too. That's why we do all this stuff. Thanks, everyone, though. Make it a winning day. We appreciate all of you, whether you're buying, not buying, or just smashing the like button. The guys that aren't, the guys that are hitting that thumbs down, go away. Have a great day. We'll see you. Jay will be hosting tomorrow.